Let's go back in time to 1996 and look at one of the best action movies of the 90s.
This is Ethan Hunt.
Mission Impossible.
They're dead.
Because this movie gave us a lot. It gave us the template for modern spy movies. It gave us this scene from Shrek 2. And it gave us an action franchise that stays true to authentic, old-school, practical filmmaking.
As you can see, we are filming the latest installment of Mission Impossible.
But perhaps most importantly, it gave us this. Because this right here is the first stunt Tom Cruise ever did.
I just try to do everything I can, use every tool that I have to entertain the audience.
And this was a defining chapter in the story we're going to talk about today, because it set him down a path to become one of the most recognizable names in Hollywood.
Tom Cruise.
He broke out as a teenage heartthrob and then became an auteur favorite. But it was only after he lost his reputation that he became a true action legend. This is a story of risk, spectacle, and the pursuit of authenticity. So it's 1981, you're 19 years old, and you're on set for your first ever movie, Endless Love.
I lit a whole pile of newspapers. You ever try to light a whole pile of wet newspapers?
It's a teen movie, and for the first few years, this is mostly what Tom Cruise would star in, playing a young arsonist in his debut,
8 years old and I was into arson.
and showing off his early stunt skills in The Outsiders. But it was risky business that truly put Tom Cruise on the map.
Right.
At only 20 years old, he was cast as the lead, playing a rich teenager who gets involved with a prostitute.
Is this your car?
And yeah, it's where this comes from. These types of scenes of a character dancing embarrassingly home alone has basically entered the cinematic grammar. There's even a TV tropes page for it. But it all started here. And this scene wasn't even in the script. Originally it just said dance in underwear through the house. The actual moves were completely improvised by Tom Cruise.
I just ad-libbed that. We just went through it. Yeah, I did.
The air guitar, jumping onto his knees, popping his collar, and this iconic slide are all just random decisions he made in the moment. So this entire trope that you can find in tons of movies is all because he decided to dance a certain way when he was 20 years old. And apart from this, Tom Cruise is genuinely great in the film. He brought a fresh-faced energy to the role, capturing the excitement of someone on the cusp of adulthood, but also the innocence and inexperience of a 17-year-old boy.
Okay, where do you want to go?
He solidly put himself on the map as a charismatic, handsome, and dependable teen movie star. And this didn't go unnoticed. Scorsese cast him as a secondary lead in The Colour of Money,
I think maybe the money's what's throwing you off here today.
and he played a mythical knight in Ridley Scott's Legend.
Sweeter than bee pollen.
He was getting work and was seen as a promising young actor. But he didn't just want to do teen movies and direct his pet projects. He wanted to try something new.
How was it? Oh, it was great out there. Beautiful. You loved it. Fantastic.
At this point in his career, Tom Cruise hadn't been in a single action movie, but it was with Top Gun that all of this changed. He played Maverick, a hotshot Navy pilot at the cutting edge of aerial combat.
Son, your ego is writing checks your body can't cash.
Top Gun was the first time Cruise was billed as a true movie star, proving that he could helm a commercial blockbuster with not just ease, but an unbridled confidence to his performance that cemented the film as a classic.
You were in a 4G inverted dive with a MiG-28.
Yes, ma'am.
He brings an earnestness to the role, a kind of old-school American heroism that he's never really lost. It was him that was guiding us through these high-octane dogfighting sequences. Whenever we saw a jet do an impressive maneuver, we knew it was Tom Cruise in the cockpit.
I'm gonna hit the brakes, he'll fly right by. Shit, he's gonna get a lock on us! I got a good lock. Firing. Splash board!
This is where the trajectory of Tom Cruise's career gets interesting, because for the next 10 years or so, apart from this racing movie, he didn't do any more action films. He avoided blockbusters and never really followed up on his action star persona, instead honing his dramatic skills.
Doesn't matter what I believe, it only matters what I can prove.
This is when he did Rain Man, Born on the 4th of July, an Interview of the Vampire. Typically, you'd expect an actor to play action roles when they're younger, and more dramatic roles when they're older. But Cruise did it the other way round, only becoming a true action legend later in his career.
The way they set them up, sometimes it's just...
Let's go.
takes me...
For now, he's stuck to smaller scale movies. In the 90s, Tom Cruise was less of a movie star and more of an actor.
Did you order the code red? Yes, you did! And it's all falling apart!
Did you fucking hear what I said?
He worked with Kubrick in Eyes Wide Shut and a young PCA in Magnolia.
How'd you guys like those nachos? Yeah!
And he wasn't afraid to share the spotlight. starring alongside Hollywood legends like Paul Newman, Dustin Hoffman, and Jack Nicholson.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
You must be one of the most important players in Hollywood at the moment.
By the mid-90s, he had the perfect combination of critical acclaim, box office dominance, and a carefully curated public image.
I just want to be able to make movies.
He starred in practically every genre of movie. He could take his career in any direction.
Am I going in the right direction?
But this is a direction he chose to pursue. In 1996, 15 years into his career, he returned to the action genre. Which brings us back to here, his first on-screen stunt. So Ethan Hunt is in a restaurant with a huge fish tank, sitting opposite his boss, Kittredge. He eventually realises Kittredge has betrayed him, so he needs a dramatic escape.
I can understand you're very upset.
Kittredge, you've never seen me very upset.
Hence the explosion. Director Brian De Palma initially had a stuntman perform the scene, but he didn't think it looked convincing, so he asked Cruise to do it instead.
I was nervous.
And luckily for us, he agreed. And by making this decision, it led to two things. It set Tom Cruise down a path of more and more elaborate stunts. Without this, you probably don't get this. But this decision also let us get this shot here, which isn't important on its own, but by what it represents. It's a stunt shot where we can see the actor's face. This opens up a whole new world of possibilities for how to film the action. We can get up close and personal, we can hold on longer takes, and we can use slow motion. Because we're not cutting around a stunt double, the action can be filmed in interesting and unique ways. We're watching the real thing, exactly as it happens.
What are you waiting for? I'm jumping out a window!
And this is why Tom Cruise stunts feel different, because we know it's actually him doing it, so the stakes seem higher. If he fails this jump, it won't just be Ethan Hunt that dies, but Tom Cruise.
Are you okay?
But it's not just seeing him do the stunt that's important, it's how he does it.
I'm trying to get away from this mountain!
Because Tom Cruise is a great stunt performer, and it's his ability to not only fully commit to the stunt, but act convincingly while doing it, that is second to none in the industry. First of all, let's talk about how he runs. Tom Cruise looks great when running. His back is straight, his knees lift high, and his hair is blowing behind him. He actually feels fast, and because of this, we understand the urgency of whatever situation he's in. But it's also there in his more elaborate stunts. This is Tom Cruise actually nosediving a helicopter in real life, all while delivering dialogue and not breaking character.
Oh, shit!
Here he is over 1,000 feet in the air suspended by a wire, and he can still give a good comedic performance.
Your line's not long enough! No shit!
It's impressive, and I'd struggle to think of an actor working today who's a better stunt performer than him. By doing his own stunts, it widens the scope of how he can film the action. But it's his performance during these stunts that makes a Tom Cruise set piece so special.
Okay, power. This is power.
He understands cinematic tension and knows how to sell a moment to the camera.
Hands up, Phoenix.
But he's not just a stuntman. He's become a marker of quality for action blockbusters. If a movie has his name attached to it, chances are it's not going to be a heartless corporate CGI fest, but an actual real film with a passion behind it. Tom Cruise makes movies, not content. But we're getting ahead of ourselves, because in 1998, no one knew Tom Cruise did his own stunts. It took at least 3 more Mission Impossible movies and a bunch of other stuff for that to be the case. And this brings us to an interesting point in his story. You see, usually I'd avoid TMZ gossip in one of these videos, but because we're focusing on the action star persona Tom Cruise has today, it's important to understand what his reputation was in the past.
We have a past. It's complicated.
Because throughout the 2000s, he had a bit of a fall from grace. He divorced Nicole Kidman.
Was Nicole the love of your life?
He publicly embraced Scientology.
I think it's a privilege to call yourself a Scientologist, and it's something that you have to earn.
He had this weird moment on Oprah's couch. He was coming across as rude in interviews.
Put your manners back in.
And Mission Impossible 3 underperformed. He was at his lowest point. Suddenly, he wasn't this charismatic, self-assured leading man, but a weirdly intense dude who behaved strangely on the red carpet.
And why would you do that? Why would you do that?
So he needed to turn things around. He hired a new publicist, but he still needed a comeback film. Mission Impossible 4 was in the works, but in the meantime, this is what he chose to do.
Oh, okay, Flaming Dragon, fuckface. First, take a big step back and literally fuck your own face!
Les Grossman, from Tropic Thunder, is a foul-mouthed studio exec.
Look, fuckstick, I'm incredibly busy, so why don't you get the hell out of here before I snap your dick off and jam it into your ass?
It was a loud, over-the-top performance, relying on physical comedy just as much as the dialogue.
I will fuck you up!
And apart from his brief appearance in Austin Powers,
Yeah, baby.
it was unlike anything he'd ever done before.
I want to have fat hands, and I'm going to dance.
It was quite a big risk. No one could guarantee this was going to pay off. He was in a fat suit, half of his dialogue was swearing, and it wasn't exactly politically correct.
Hit that director in the face. Really fucking hard.
But he fully committed, giving it 100% with no restraint.
You took hip-hop classes to prepare to be Les Grossman, is that right?
For the first time in a while, people were laughing with him rather than at him. This ostensibly very serious guy was mocking his own industry.
Nutless monkey could do your job.
It was refreshing and a big PR win for Cruise.
Just a quick look at Les Grossman. Let's just take a quick look.
It was during this time that Tom Cruise was contacted by Christopher McQuarrie, who you might have seen hanging around Cruise in promo videos. This is him in the yellow plane.
Chris McQuarrie!
Hi, everybody. Hey.
And here he is complaining about motion smoothing.
Video interpolation, or motion smoothing, is a digital effect on most high-definition televisions.
McQuarrie was an award-winning writer and director in the same low ebb as Cruise. He won an Oscar for writing The Usual Suspects, but he hadn't done much since.
Excuse me?
So he showed Cruise a script for his next project, a film called Valkyrie.
We still initiate Valkyrie.
Valkyrie's still in effect.
A historical thriller about a plot to kill him.
We have to kill Hitler.
It was a minor critical and commercial hit, but it was a welcome win that Cruise needed. It reminded people that most Tom Cruise movies are actually pretty good. And ever since, he's continued to collaborate with McQuarrie, working on most of his recent films together. But although Valkyrie was moderately successful, they both needed a big hit for a true comeback. And luckily, they were working on this at the time, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol.
The president has invoked Ghost Protocol. We're shut down.
This kind of reinvented the franchise. It dropped the numbering scheme and added a subtitle. It found a balance between over-the-top action and cool espionage. It was the first modern Mission Impossible movie, complete with a massive Tom Cruise set piece.
Where's Ethan?
But the production wasn't exactly smooth sailing. They all knew they had the action in the bag, but they were struggling to find the narrative that underpins it all.
Brad Bird and I were going back and forth trying to crack it.
They'd already filmed the Burj Khalifa scene, but some of the dialogue just needed fine-tuning.
And we're going back and forth. The scene's like, eh.
And although not officially involved, he invited McQuarrie to the set.
There's Bird and Peg look at me quizzically like, who's this guy, as we're trying to write this scene back and forth.
So on this glove, blue means it sticks and red means it doesn't. But how do you quickly tell this to the audience?
Without hesitation, McHugh goes, oh, well, blue is glue, red is dead.
Blue is glue.
And when it's red?
Dead.
And then he proceeded to write the entire scene that we shot, like that.
This collaboration, with McHugh writing and then eventually directing, would come to define the current chapter of Tom Cruise's career. A chapter full of unapologetic action blockbusters. Movies, with a capital M.
Movies, popcorn.
They're high octane, not particularly narratively complex, but thrilling nonetheless. It's a throwback to old school Hollywood. The storytelling is honest and earnest, rather than ironic and self-aware.
I got it. We got it.
The effects are mostly in camera, but where there is CGI, it takes the Dune approach, using technology to elevate the practical elements, rather than digitally create environments from the ground up. It's a stark difference to most of the content the major studios put out. And there's a meta-modern element to these movies. They're a celebration of the art of filmmaking, pushing the boundaries of what's possible, all while retaining the creative spark that makes them enjoyable. It's both a celebration of the past
You shake my nerves and you rattle my brain.
and an argument for the future.
Goodness gracious, great balls of fire.
In Dead Reckoning, Tom Cruise fights an AI called the Entity.
No one should be trusted with control of the entity.
A metaphor for the threat of artificial intelligence taking over filmmaking.
I mean to kill it.
This meta-textual commentary is taken a step further in Top Gun Maverick.
You won't retire, and despite your best efforts, you refuse to die.
Both Tom Cruise and his character are becoming part of the old guard.
Yet here you are. Why is that?
They probably should have stopped flying or stopped throwing themselves off mountains years ago, but they're still going at it, still pushing the limits of what's possible.
Your kind is headed for extinction.
Maybe so, sir. But not today.
The film begins with Maverick testing a hypersonic jet. trying to prove the value of having a pilot in the cockpit rather than using unmanned drones. And just as Cruise broke the record for holding his breath in Rogue Nation, Maverick hit Mach 10, breaking the record for the fastest speed achieved by a human in a crewed aircraft.
What's our budget for his unmanned program?
He's on his way to kill the test and shut us down personally.
They're rallying against the idea that you can't remove people from the equation.
Well, he isn't here yet.
It's the irreplaceable human element, their determination and grit, that makes these extraordinary feats possible.
Come on, sweetheart, just a little more. Come on!
Cruise has always rejected the easier, quicker route of CGI or stunt double, instead relying on practical effects and remaining as authentic as possible.
The future is coming, and you're not in it.
Pushing for the preservation of something sacred, something tangible, the need for an artist behind the camera and a real person in front of it.
Is it true that you saved the movie business? Steven Spielberg said you did.
And it was with Top Gun Maverick that people began to acknowledge this. He earned a newfound respect within Hollywood, entering a new era and cementing his reputation as a singular force that refuses to bow to the modern blockbuster formula. This is what big budget cinema should be.
Promise me you'll be on that train.
There doesn't need to be a complicated plot, the characters don't need to be overly complex, but there needs to be a heart to the film.
I will be there.
It needs to feel like the filmmakers put thought and effort into constructing the movie, and that they actually care about entertaining us, not just selling tickets.
Look, I do it because it's entertaining to you all. Do you know? I want to entertain you.
I think they're going to find out.
I want to entertain you.
From his beginning as a teen star to his partnership with McQuarrie, Tom Cruise has had one hell of a career. And there's one word to describe his ethos: authenticity.
Hey, listen, we really got a room. We got to get this shot. Oh, yeah, we're filming. We got to get this shot.
Whether it's dancing a certain way, doing his own stunts, or learning sword fighting for The Last Samurai, he's always gone the extra mile to make his performance as authentic as possible.
Because they did their job.
It's not just a job to him, but a true calling.
Yeah, I watch a lot of movies.
You did?
Yeah, I watch about a movie a day. I tried to.
And this is, to me, what a Tom Cruise movie is. It's a film with a beating heart both in front and behind of the camera. A movie made with a genuine passion, respect, and love of making movies.
I feel the need for speed.
Sure, they're commercial blockbusters, but Tom Cruise is proving that there's nothing necessarily wrong with that.
We'll see you at the movies.